Hello, this is Yannick Goldenzen. Welcome to my studio, and today I would like to introduce you to a new segment that is going to be featured on this YouTube channel of mine. And we are going to look at showreel scenes together. I hope you're familiar with British filmmaker Chris Stone. He's a great filmmaker and a great friend, meanwhile, and we often collaborate together. Year of Spies, for example, is still running. And every now and then he does showreel scenes for actors, so they have something, they can show to if they want to apply for a job or anything. And the great thing for me is those little contained stories and showreel scenes. Sometimes Chris asks me if I could score them, which is always a great opportunity because you stay trained, you got something to do, you can further hone your craft and all stuff like that. And so I really like to do that, and it doesn't take up much time. Because they're usually like 2, 3, 4 minute videos, and I can do things that sometimes I can even do things that I don't do usually, like I don't do a lot of comedy scores, I don't do a lot of drama scores, if you have followed my music, it's more about agent stuff, James Bond, war music, dark music, industrial, whatever. And so every now and then I get the chance to score these things. I've uploaded some on my YouTube channel, but I think it was not the best possible way I did it, because sometimes I just uploaded the video, and of course the dialogue is more important than the music in the video, obviously. So the music is quite in the background, and so if you're interested in the music, you don't get a lot of it. And what I did with the last video, which was the Angel Maker, is that I first showed the movie and then added the isolated score so you could listen to it separately. But I thought it may be interesting for a concept in the future if I make a little introduction. Then we're going to look at the showreel scene itself. Then there's going to be a little interlude where I say something about the music, and then we're going to listen to the isolated score. This is a little test. Please feel free to comment, like, or whatever you want to do. It's always very appreciated. And first we're going to take a look at the showreel scene that we're going to look today is called Treason.
Always a pleasure to be graced by your presence.
Couldn't you have picked a meeting place closer to my front door?
I didn't think I was welcome.
Hasn't stopped you before.
My last enchanting visit ended with your guard threatening to cut my throat.
And he knows where I am and who I'm meeting. So if I don't return, he'll finish the job.
You think so little of me. I come bearing a wonderful gift for you. No shanks in sight.
I take it this gift is verbal.
I couldn't trust it to any messenger. The king has eyes everywhere.
Go on.
We both know the king has unusual taste in company.
You are in no position to judge.
I'm not the head of state and church. I have a dozen witnesses ready and willing to testify against him.
They'd be dead before they could utter a single word.
Not if you provide me with security for them.
That could be taken as an act of treason.
With the king in prison, your husband would take the throne. What's a little risk compared to gaining so much power?
And what's your reward?
I'm sure I'll think of something.
Now Chris is a guy who's very conscious of music, and that is a great thing because he knows what role the music has to play, how it works and how it sounds the best and where it's supposed to be and where not. and today it's kind of standard that directors, filmmakers, they temp the movies. You probably heard about this. So they pick any random score just so they have something to to set the mood and to have something to cut to. And what I usually get from Chris is the movie with the temp score. And sometimes, most times, Chris is a guy who does a lot of thinking, and he knows why he picks a certain piece of music because it fits the best, like I said, from the mood and from the tempo and everything. And I think as when you do the music for these kinds of things, when you have a temp track, it's important that you stay true to the feeling of the original, also to the rhythm of the original, because like I said, it's been cut to the rhythm of the temp track, so you can't go into a completely different direction. You can try, it can also be good, but usually you try to stick close to the temp track, but still do it your own. So that's always the challenge, especially nowadays where everything is basically temp tracked. So you do something of your own, and but you still keep true to what has been done before with the temp music. And so that was kind of the challenge. And since Chris is a big fan of John Barry, he often uses temp music from John Barry, and I get that. And of course, I'm a big John Barry fan myself, and this has been a stellar example for how this works, because I think the music is kind of in that John Barry vein. Of course, it's never as great because I don't have that kind of talent like John Barry had, but it's kind of in that vein. But at the end, for example, here was a good example. At the end, it was just the nature of the piece, of the music. It ramped up quite dramatically. It was too much. So I asked Chris, I think in the end it's a little too much. Do you mind if I ramp it up, of course, because, it gets more, it gets more and more tense. But just ramp it up a little less than in the temp track. Because in the temp track, especially after a certain while in the video, it was like, it really goes apeshit. And I said, you know what, I think it worked for what it was meant for, was for that soundtrack. But I think it's a little too much for this intense, but yet kind of, subtle scene. And he said, yeah, absolutely, do it like that, we'll try it out. And often making music is also a trial and error process. So you do something, and then you talk about it, and you may even know when you start that it's maybe not going to be the final thing. But sometimes it's trial and error. And sometimes I ask, for example, the guys I work together with, do you mind if I maybe try this and that? And they say, of course, try it. If it don't work, it don't work. At least then you know how it's not supposed to be. And sometimes you just have to eliminate the options, so because there are scenes where you don't quite know how it's going to work, what music is going to fit. And so you just have to eliminate options, and what's left over usually is then subsequently the right thing. Now, I did enough talking. Maybe I've been a bit too long. I intend to keep it shorter the next time. But now we're going to take a listen at the isolated score. Enjoy.